And then, of course, the confusion what you do if you use medicinal marijuana. Because I think while the rest of us will be able to go off to the store and get our own recreational pot, those who actually need it for medicinal purposes still have to jump through hoops. Right now, if you use medicinal, you've got to have a license, and then you have to mail it out and get it back. It takes time. My next guest is a medicinal user. He is a former professional player who uses it for injuries he suffered on the ice, things like concussions. But soon it's going to be even cheaper and easier for him if he just goes and gets a recreational stuff instead of, waiting for it to arrive in the mail. Rob Frid joins us now. He is a former hockey player, played for the London Knights, by the way. And Adam Oldfield, who normally comes on to talk about tech stuff, but he's traded in his tech hat and has created a website aimed at lobbying the government to make sure that changes are needed to help those in the medicinal industry. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Alex.
So I'm going to start with a hockey player because everyone always prefers a hockey player. Sorry, Adam. But Rob, why is it that you need medicinal marijuana, and what are the challenges right now for you to get it?
Hey, yeah, thanks, Alex and Adam, for having me on. I am a former professional hockey player. I played with the London Knights, and unfortunately, I was left with some long-lasting injuries. I have neuromuscular disease, and some neurologists think I have early onset Parkinson's. So I use cannabis to alleviate muscle spasms, cramping, and the use of chronic pain. Cannabis was prescribed to me from Parkwood Hospital in London, Ontario, about 6 years ago, and it really helps, right? And I've had a very difficult time the past few years. Like anybody that gets sick, you end up losing your employment. You end up, some have family issues and things like that. But cannabis has always worked for me. But I found the difficulties of affording it, not only affording it, and then being forced onto low-level disability. There isn't really an option, right? It's very sporadic when I can use it properly. And now with what's happening, I can get it in the mail through American, who's my provider. It's a government provider. But the access still isn't there when people that are on disability, and even private insurance too, because they don't cover it. So there is a lot of issues. I work with an organization called Athletes for Care out of the United States and now in Canada. We're an organization that helps support retired athletes and coping with the challenges that I face, and really what a lot of people face, regular people with disability, disease, the whole 9 yards, and how cannabis can be used on all fronts in a lot of different diseases and disabilities. So it's very difficult to afford it for one thing, and then the access to it, and waiting in the mail and things like that. But I can answer anything that you're going to ask me here tonight about it.
Well, in a couple of months, I'll be able to go to the store and buy it, from a government depot, essentially. But a guy like you will simply have to wait for it in the mail. That makes no sense to me. So it's clear that the federal government didn't come up with a plan for medicinal users like yourself. So it begs the question, will you then start using this stuff that everyone else buys for recreational?
Well, that's the other difficulty, Alex, is that a lot of us medical patients, we're prescribed it and in certain strains and strain specifics help for different things like Parkinson's, MS. I've got dystonia, which is the neuromuscular part of it, and that type of strain won't be available for me to walk into, say, an LCBO where they're going to provide it and like that. So, we're going to be forced into a situation where we're still going to have to order. But again, we're talking about the difficulties that we're even having today before the laws have come in for the medicinal patient. And it comes down to the difficulties affording it. The oils that really help me, they're very expensive and sometimes can cost up to nearly $1,400 a month. And you guys know what patients make with ODSP, what they bring in for their income disability support program and CPP disability, and it's just not there. So a lot of medicinal patients suffer even today, and the new laws aren't going to change anything. They're going to make things even more difficult. And I believe that the government's going to profit a ton of money. We're talking millions and billions off the recreational part of things, Alex. So I believe that there should be a cannabis support platform and a program built by the government where they're taking some of the recreational profits that they're going to put in their pockets and then allow the medicinal patients to possibly get free cannabis. And then you're going to see people really thrive with disabilities.
Okay, so that's where you come in, Adam, because you're trying to help get the word out on medicinal cannabis. I mean, it's almost mind-baffling to me that they have not come up yet with a plan for medicinal users to be able to go and buy it more easily.
Well, and exactly, Alex. I think, you know what, when I heard about what was going on, I know that there's a lot of, you know, announcements and so forth with regards to the recreational. The big thing for me is the medicinal. It's been, in my opinion, lost in the shuffle, and it really did kickstart the whole cannabis revolution, if you will. And there's a few things that are really concerning a lot of what Rob has brought up. But also, I'd like to bring up the fact that the access, which you've addressed, is key, identifying the difference between what is medicinal to what is recreational. And again, Rob gave a very good example of where a product he needs, particularly, he can't go to the local liquor board to be able to pick it up. He has to be able to send it in the mail and wait for a licensed producer to be able to ship it to him. And I like to use the example of, if you got a migraine, you're not going to put your medical doctor note in the mail and ship it off and hope you cure your migraine in 10 days from now. So the key thing from my standpoint is that I got behind this group. I put a website together called Medicinal My Way, and it's an opportunity to speak out and send a message to the government exactly pointing these issues. Number one is access. Having access easier, making it simple for those that are been given a prescription to get it simple for them. Number two, which is not being brought up, is the fact that, as Rob indicated, the cost for cannabis is quite expensive, and now they're going to lump it into the taxation side. So we're going to be seeing everyone's medicine, which, by the way, prescription medicine is not taxed, is going to be lumped into this recreational product, and it's going to be taxed. And I've got a problem with that. So I'm really trying to get my message out, and I'm trying to get on the patient's behalf, such as Rob. And that's how actually Rob got connected with me. I launched the site. I sent it out in social media. He immediately saw it. He submitted a letter, and we got connected on this. And that's sort of how we started this bandwagon.
Yeah, and the problem is, as you both know, bureaucracy tends to move at a glacial pace, and while the rollout is going to be marred, I think, with a lot of confusion, as we're already starting to see, the medicinal side of this thing, I don't even think has been thought of, and so it could take some time to correct this. Adam, I'll give that to you, and then I'll come back for your response.
My issue on the fact of what you said exactly that, Alex, is that it's almost like they take forever to move, and it's been years that it's been licensed on the federal level, as we know that it is licensed and allowed to be grown by a federal producer. However, the real issue is that they're rushing through now. They're pushing through quickly through Parliament on a recreational side, and no one's balancing the difference between the two. That's my big concern, and I want to be able to make a voice stronger to the government and the Fed level to help put some structure together so it doesn't get out of control too soon.
Rob, just before I let you go, because I don't have a lot of time, I mean, your message obviously is to the medicinal community, but what would you want people at large to understand about the access?
Well, yeah, Adam hit it right on the point there, but access needs to be there, but we have to really look at the government, and we have to put them on standby too, and look at, you know, we've got an opiate crisis. It's right across the planet. You know, it's very rapid in the U.S., here in Canada. You know what, I am on low-level narcotics. I can go and pick up my prescription at Shoppers, and I don't get taxed. You know, for pain control, cannabis, it does wonders, right? But they're out here trying to solve an opiate crisis, and they're putting so much money and attention to that, when it's a simple fix too, right? Allow medical patients to access cannabis properly, make it more affordable, and then maybe people will have options instead of being forced on a high-level narcotic or opiate and then becoming tolerant and then becoming sick when cannabis can actually alleviate a lot of those symptoms too, right? And really help people with disabilities thrive. I've been able to see both because I've been working with the hospital for several years, and they gave me both medications in conjunction with each other. So I've seen the benefits of both, but now, yeah, it's gotten ridiculous, and now we're headed into a stage here where we're basically having full legalization, and the government's doing nothing for patients.
Okay, I've got to leave it there. The website is medicinalmyway.ca. That'll give you all the information. But an interesting conversation. I thank you both for joining me.
Thanks, Alex.
That is Rob Frid, someone who relies on medicinal.
So, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and watching me on the air on AM 640. The real key message here that I'm trying to make is the fact that I am going to be speaking up. And medicinalmyway.ca is a website I've set up. It's all preset with the ability to send a letter to government. It allows you to tell your story. There are so many of us that are affected by this. I am not, and I am not necessarily a user of cannabis, but I do know a lot of people that are affected by it. And where I get very vocal when it comes to the fact that, A, you're going to have access to it. They're lumping it into the recreational side. And I'm really pushing for differentiation of what is medical versus what is medicinal. And medicinal is key to that. Number two, they are going to be taxing it, and there needs to be some clarity to that. So access is number one. Number two, tax, and understand the difference between it all. So with that, I really I hope you'll get behind it. Share it with your friends. Tell your colleagues that I need your voice, and I'm going to be making a lot of noise in the next couple weeks. You're going to probably be hearing me speak out a lot more about this. So I certainly hope that you can be able to help me with this expedition I have. And the federal government's number one. Number two is I'm going to be getting into the municipality level, because what's also critical is the fact that there's got to be structure when this actually passes. So it needs to be in place. And I'm going to be very much in a lot of communities, municipalities. They're going to be hearing my voice. So on behalf of all patients and those that need the assistance to get the voice out and be able to make it accessible to you, I got your back. If you want to help me, go to medicinalmyway.ca. Just fill in your name, enter your postal code. It's all pre-written. It will send to every government level for you, and share your story. And I certainly hope I can take a lot of that, and I'm going to be making a lot of noise in the very, very near future when it comes to letting people know how we need to get access to it. All right, I'm done on that. I will catch up with all of you later on. Thanks, guys.